A huge amount of gun owners have been added to the rosters. A vast majority of them are female, and of that biggest group, they're black females. And I think it's absolutely phenomenal because it has the controllers scared because they did not want that to happen. They don't want, the typical people that they will pass laws to prey upon. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
They want to keep people impoverished and depend upon the government. But now these people realize, like, hey, I am my own safety. I depend on me now.
That's right.
And they're very worried about that going forward.
And that goes back to what I was saying before when it comes to firearm ownership. That is a sign of independence, not dependence. Independence. Welcome back to the CF Podcast, everybody. I am your host, Clint, and we've got Kaya back with us.
What's up, guys?
And we've got, I am honored to call our friend with us, Guns and Gadgets, Jared, with us today. Thanks for joining us, man.
Oh, dude, my pleasure.
Dude,
absolutely.
We go back a little bit. I think we first met at the Battle Line Tactical. Like, that was when we first, really got to know each other, I think. The Battle Line Tactical 2-day course with Fort Scott Munitions, Chris Tonto Peranto, and how cool that was.
Dude, amazing.
Yeah, and we absolutely vibed out there, and we've known each other, we've seen each other in passing, stuff like that, which is always cool. And I know you're tight too with Anthony Arms Scholar, and it was cool to see you guys at a different event too. And then there was the CMMG Sausage Fest with Nate Gundrummer, who we recently had on, and that was so much fun too. And then even more recently, Gun Owners of America was cool enough to invite us out to that influencers conference.
Right.
What did Felicia call us again? We're not Impactors.
Impactors.
Yeah, that was good name. Good name. But that Katie, Kaya, and myself, all of us were there, and so many good people in that,
Yeah,
and
it was a good crew.
Oh, that was an excellent crew, and that was a lot of fun too.
Dude, that place, I mean,
it was a cool place.
wow.
I don't know how much we're allowed to talk about that
You
place.
cannot talk about the place.
Secret. I was only told you can't take pictures.
Yeah.
So I'm going to talk about it.
Yeah, secret walls and everything else. It was awesome.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Someone had fun.
Someone had a lot of money.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
my
yeah.
God.
Yeah, there's definitely some people that went missing there. Anyway, so let's start this off because first of all, our audience should definitely know Guns and Gadgets. I have been watching you, dude. I've actually been seriously a fan for a long time. And then whenever I saw your name pop up that we'd be going to that Battle Line Tactical course, I was like, no fucking way, dude. That's gonna be freaking cool. We're gonna be running with these dudes, and these are guys that like everybody kind of has like a bad taste in their mouth when they hear influencer, right?
Yeah.
And then you actually see these guys like Hank Strange. Love that dude, and he calls it as it is too, man. He doesn't pull any punches, man. If he sees some bullshit, he calls it out, and I love it. And you're the same way. And there's so many, freaking Braid and Langley Outdoors. It's awesome, man. And then you see these same types of guys going to this course, and we're actually running and gunning, and we're learning tactics and all that stuff. And you're like, dude, we're not just some hyped gun bunnies out here. You know what I mean? We're actually doing something. Yeah. Well, Kaya might be, but dude, we're out here running and gunning and doing cool shit, and that was cool to do with you. But let's get on the topic of you really quick because you are the premier source for Second Amendment news.
I like to think so.
Yeah, dude. I anytime something drops, man, you are on it, dude. And I think that is just super cool. So what got you to this point, right? Because I know you're prior law enforcement, stuff like that, and if you're comfortable talking about it, feel free to. But what got you to the point today where you are the premier source for Second Amendment news on YouTube?
Well, it starts when I was a young buck. I grew up in the housing project, grew up around a lot of crime, a lot of incidents where people could have defended themselves if they had the actual right tools. So that, at a very early age, I saw things that nobody should really be able to see at a young age. So I grew up in an anti-gun family, other than my grandfather and my uncle who used to go hunting, but my mom and the girls, her sisters, you can't do that. It's very bad. So I got to see at a young age, like, how people's feelings could actually inhibit people from living anymore. And so it was an early impact there. And then when I decided to do law enforcement, I got to see, pretty bad stuff firsthand.
Yeah.
And the whole time thinking or even asking, hey, do you have a gun? Are you trained up? Do you know how to defend yourself? And you see that for 20 some odd years, it changes you. It really does change you. And then I went to 3 different police academies in different states, and I've always been a fan of law, reading law, and understanding what Old English is and how it might say one thing, but based off of the writing style and techniques, it might say 4 different things that you're not really in tune with, because it's almost like translating another language. If you don't understand Old English, it's very intimidating, confusing, and people get shut off by it. So I started my channel, Guns and Gadgets, in 2014. I was out of work with a shoulder injury, had just had a surgery, so I had a couple weeks that I was going to be sitting around. And at the time, YouTube was either a cat video or a holster review. So I said, as a firearms instructor, I can review a holster. I can review a gun. Let's do it. So my son called me on it, and he held up an iPhone, and the first video was done. I was reviewing, I think it was an Alien Gear holster.
Yeah.
But then, a cop's salary isn't a lot, so you realize that guns and gadgets, to procure that, costs a lot of money. So that kind of went out the window. So I would start to dabble with dropping. I live in Massachusetts, which is like the second coming of gun control outside of California.
What? I thought it was like a Second Amendment sanctuary, man.
No. It's a sanctuary, but not for the Second Amendment.
Not for the 2A.
Not for anything freedom related. So I dropped a couple videos about some stuff that was happening in Massachusetts. Our Attorney General reinterpreted our assault weapon ban overnight, just changed it. And I did a couple videos and it popped. And then I did some follow-up videos because they made some brutal mistakes in their interpretation, saying that you could have 22, but you can't have an AR. So I did a video like 223 is a 22.
Exactly.
So you can still have them, you know, according to the law. And then got into a little battle with the AG, and so I decided to do more law. And as I started to branch out and do stuff here, there, across the country, it showed me that people had the interest. Because I really do believe, like, what happens in California will come to your state. They're going to try to do it one way or another. It doesn't matter if you're in Missouri right now and you have the Second Amendment Preservation Act. They're going to try to come one day to change the laws.
If you give an inch, they're going to try to take them
absolutely.
out.
Absolutely. Sam Paredes is a good friend of mine with GOC and Gun Owners California and Gun Owners of America. And he said to me the other day, he's like, in California will either impact or infect your state with gun control. So I just try to get people up to snuff with what's happening and what to look for, and then more importantly, how to be part of the process to stop it, or how to be part of the process to pass a bill that you want. People don't talk to their legislators anymore and stuff like that. So as I started to do that, obviously the channel grew. And if you told me in 2014 that when I was working midnight shifts that I'd be here at SHOT Show talking about Second Amendment rights and how we need to change things, I would have thought you were crazy.
Yeah.
And a thing that you love too.
Like it's a passion. I truly believe everybody should be armed.
Yeah. Did you get any pushback from the your agency?
Yes.
I'm sure.
They don't like they being like police chiefs and stuff like that, and legislators. Massachusetts chiefs are appointed by, most of them are appointed, and unfortunately they have to toe the line, which I don't agree with. You take an oath, you took an oath, you took an oath, we all did, and I take it seriously to this day. I'm not in law enforcement anymore, but I will stop and do what I have to do to defend people. And I told the powers that be that I'm going to do whatever I have to do to show people injustices that are happening and how laws are passed violating the Constitution. And they said, well, just don't do anything in uniform and don't do anything about the city or town. And I said, well, don't give me a reason to do it.
There you go. Yeah.
There you go. Yeah.
So there's pushback, but ultimately they understand. I wish all of them were more willing to take a stance, because nothing we're going through right now would take place if they didn't have people willing to enforce it.
Right. No, that's a really good point too. And we can hop right into that too, because the ATF is always pulling something. We had Gun Owners of America on here not too long ago. Ben and Stephen, one of the attorneys with GOA, and Stephen, from what I understand, that was like his inaugural podcast, if I think that's right, Ryan. And I was like, dude, this man was good. He knows what he's talking about.
Steve's top notch, man.
Dude, he's awesome, man. And I love Ben, dude. He knows his stuff too, man.
Absolutely.
And they're always writing up all sorts of stuff, keeping the public informed and everything. So if you're not following GOA, do that. Gun Owners of America, on Instagram, and of course their website and all that type of fun stuff. But on top of that, not only are they, keeping people up to date on it, but they're actually fighting for it too. And that's something that you're doing. I know you partner pretty heavily with GOA also. And hell, even I'm trying to, dude, what else do you need? We're trying to put the donate button on our website and stuff like that, and just technology. We'll get there. But the ATF, they're always playing some games. They're always trying to, throw in a loophole there. And Ben said something to me that I thought was really shady about that. Whenever they're writing up some of these regulations or whatever, you'll try to control F firearms. Right? Let's see if they put in some sort of legislation that's not even firearms. Doesn't even have anything to do with firearms. let's just see if they try to throw something in there, because they do.
Oh, absolutely.
All the time.
Absolutely.
Well, here's the thing. They actually write the document in such a manner that firearms might be at the end of a sentence and hyphenated, so now when you control F firearms, it doesn't come up.
Correct.
Bro, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Wow.
That is shady as shit.
Wow. Okay, I didn't know that. That's pretty shady.
Right? And so, and you're thinking about that, and you're like, man, that's nuts. So I'm glad he mentioned that here, because like I said, I never heard that.
There are states that have put gun control in bills that had nothing to do with anything but like amusement parks.
Right.
Because they knew no matter what happened, that bill was going to pass. So let's strip and rip, it's called. We'll strip this bill that people might not be in favor of. We'll insert it in the amusement park bill, and who's going to vote against the amusement park?
Right.
And that's how they get a lot of stuff passed.
So that's, I mean, talk about shady stuff. I mean, on top of that, just submitting things at 3 a.m. in the morning,
Yeah.
that'll be passed at 1 p.m. the next day or that day. On top of that, pulling shady stuff like that, man. That's why GOA, like guys like organizations like GOA, those guys like Ben and them going through all this stuff for us, helping us out, like huge. We got to support them for sure.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Support those who support
Yeah.
you, man.
Yep.
Yeah. So, you know, you have done law enforcement. How long were you in law enforcement for?
24 years. I started in 1997.
Oh wow, man! Yeah, dude. So you told me a little bit about how you got started on that too, and so that's awesome. You know, you did that for a long time, and you know what's really cool about that, you know, is a lot of people think too, like, okay, so who would enforce these gun laws, right? Because you see already, there's a lot of states or counties, I should say, in Illinois that said we're not going to enforce this new assault weapons ban.
Right.
You know, I think was it you that actually put out the map?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm like, yeah, double tap that. You know, and I like that, and you saw all these counties. I mean, there was only like 1 or 2 counties that actually said we'll enforce.
Three.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude,
Cook County, of course.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah. And I'm like, sweet. You know, so you do have law enforcement agencies out there that will look at this and said, hey, you know what, we did take an oath, and this ain't it.
Right.
You know,
And I also want to say this too, like Illinois is like a blue state, right? But you can just clearly tell why. There's
it's
3
Chicago.
states.
Yeah, it's just Chicago.
3 states supporting. I mean, the whole state is red.
Yeah.
Like the whole state went against this whole ban thing. They're just standing hardcore, completely against it. But Cook County,
Yeah, that's where
Yeah.
the population
Yeah.
is, man. That's
Yeah.
how they get the votes, because
Yeah.
the mass, you know, the masses live in the cities.
Yeah.
And even in pro-gun states, like look at Virginia. They
Yeah.
flip Virginia just by redistricting.
Yep.
You know, and if you don't pay it, that's why I try to get people to be vocal. It's the little things that far too often our parents' parents would say, if it doesn't bother me, the individual directly, But I mean,
Yeah.
who cares about redistricting? Who cares about redistricting? Well, look what happened.
Look
in
what
Virginia,
happened.
it's a
you know?
ripple effect,
Yep.
man.
It is, you know, it absolutely is like a ripple effect. We talked about dominoes too with GOA, like how one state, and just like how you said, California might take the lead on something, and then all of a sudden it's like, hey, that's a good idea. We're going to do it over here too. And
Yeah.
next thing you know, New York, and then in Illinois, and then so and so. You know, it's like, all right, cool, let's do that. You know, whatever.
And you know what, as you know, the law enforcement thing, they said they're not going to enforce, right, in Illinois, which it's awesome. And Governor Pritzker says, you know, if sheriffs aren't going to do it, somebody else will.
Yeah.
Well, that's somebody else's state police, obviously, or local police officers.
Right.
And I was local and state over there. I'm from Illinois.
Right.
And every time we arrest somebody, where do we take them?
To local, the book.
To county, right? The county decides if they're not going to take it, we're not going to take them home. So I have a feeling if local and state is going to enforce this, there's going to be a lot of NTAs, notice to appears.
Yes.
Because it's going to have to be paperwork, so nobody goes to jail. Still hurts people, but I'm glad that sheriffs will just reject them right at the door.
I think this is a good spot to say, like, if you are on the job and
Yeah.
you took an oath and you enforce this stuff, leave the job, because you should be in prison. If
Yeah.
you're enforcing unconstitutional laws against Americans that you swore your life to protect,
Right.
the problem is you. You know?
No, that's correct. We took an oath, all 3 of us.
Yeah.
And I remember when I was a local guy or even state guy, we said we solemnly swear and all that stuff to uphold the Constitution. And then, of course, in the state they say, and state whatever too, but and. There's no or, right? So it's a very conflicting thing. Like, so you're going to have to make a choice, right? You're going to either enforce, like uphold the Constitution, or you're going to violate the Constitution as a police officer.
Right.
So you make the call. I know for a fact I'm not in it anymore. There is no way I would just say, hey, turn around, put your hand behind your back for having an AR-15, and that is it, and
Yeah.
you're law-abiding.
Well,
There's no way.
I took it serious. Like,
Yeah.
when I got to my last job for 4 years, I was a sergeant and took over the training division. And my whole thing was making sure that the new guys and gals were trained the right way. Because in the academy, it's militaristic. So I would bring them into my office, and in my office, I had the Constitution, the Declaration, and the Bill of Rights behind me. And part of their onboarding, I'd take them up and point to a paragraph, read it, and tell me what it means to you and why you're here. And I don't want to hear because I want to help people. Why are you here? And you'd be surprised, like a lot of guys and gals don't know what the Constitution says. I even had one guy, name I will not mention, but he said, Sarge, I can't read that. So I said, why not? Just go up and read it. And he said, I can't. So now I'm thinking like dyslexia or something like that. Well, they don't teach cursive anymore.
Oh,
so now we have
wow.
a generation and a half that can't even read the founding documents because they're originally written in cursive. Yeah. So if you can't read it, you're more likely to just believe what people tell you it says. And that's something that should be concerning this entire country.
So, that's a big deal when you think about it. Almost, I mean, hey, I'm not going to say I believe in like conspiracy theories or anything like that, but if I were to say that you're trying to groom the future generations to be able to not to read what our founding fathers had put in place to build such a country as that we have today, I'm just going to say, I mean, it sounds like that you would start there. You can't read the founding documents. Oh, shit, that's too bad. Here's what it says.
Yeah.
Take my word for it.
Things that make you go,
Yeah. Exactly. Do you still do the Pledge of Allegiance in the school here?
So I graduated high school in 2009, so I was the most recent one, right? Out of us three here, don't mean to cause any offense.
Okay. Yeah, sure. And then Jared and then me.
Yeah, right. But I will say, we did the Pledge of Allegiance, and I went to Charlotte-Mecklenburg schools, man. That's not exactly a very, pro-country school
that's
system.
Good to hear, at least that. Yeah.
I mean, but that was also, 2009, so like 14 years ago now, so it's
they still take the teeth out of it, because like the schools that my kids are in Massachusetts, they still say it, but you're not required to stand. Nobody is anymore. Before it was like a religious thing, understand that. And if you're from a different country, whatever, I mean, you're still here. You should still take that pledge, but they're not even required to stand anymore. Like the kids just say people just talk. They're on their phone, messing around.
They don't care.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate. I mean, dude, I was taught from a very young age, like, hey, you will never disrespect the flag. Here's the proper way to fold the flag. If it touches the ground, here's the proper way to dispose of the flag and to honor it. Right. And it's like that's what you do. And you said, here's what a 21 gun salute is. Here's how you get one of those. Right. All this type of stuff, man. And it's like, and these are the type of people that deserve that. Give me examples of it. You got Audie Murphy out there, and that's what I grew up with. Right. You know what I mean? And and so when I went to high school and middle school, elementary school, all that, we were standing and all that type of stuff. But it was high school. High school, you get that more rebellious age and everything, and then all of a sudden you realize that I'm the only one standing up with my hand over my heart. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and I'm getting made fun of for it. And I'm like, are you serious? I'm like, what are you guys doing? I'm like, both of my uncles were Marines. They served. My grandfather served. My great uncle was in Iwo Jima. I was like, dude, what the hell is this?
Yeah.
And you're looking around and you're like, you're offending me.
Yeah.
Why are you laughing at me? You're offending me. You're not offending me. You know who you're offending? You're offending all the people that have died for you to be able to laugh. Right.
Dude, I'm an immigrant. Okay, so I'll tell you this, man.
I had no idea.
Oh, you can't, because when you look at me, you can't tell. I have to tell you that, right? So, I'll tell you this, man. We're not perfect. Nobody's, right? We've got stuff to figure out, too. But when you live in a different country, generally speaking, you really realize how awesome this country is. Mm-hmm. I've said it. I've never stopped saying it, right? And I will always say it. Yeah. I visit other countries all the time. I love going overseas, just checking things out, whatever, traveling for fun. And I always miss here. Like a week after being there, whatever I am, I'm like, man, I miss the States. The lifestyle, the freedom that we have here, like you can't match anywhere.
That's the comfort level, man. Americans are comfortable, which breeds laziness. There are people that die every single day trying to get to our country to be free in the worst of worst conditions. The back of a tractor trailer, smuggled in a capsule under 10 feet under the water. There are people who will literally give everything to try to have a better lifestyle here, and we just take it for granted.
Yeah. We take it for granted heavily. Yeah, and like you said, you being an immigrant. Dude, I mean, you got here, you did it, and you did it the right way and everything.
Dude,
through Mexico.
Right way.
Through Mexico. Right.
That's what I'm saying. The right way. The container, I was at the back of the container.
There's more oxygen up there.
Right.
But in all seriousness, think, okay, so who was that basketball player that got arrested in Russia?
Yeah.
Brittany
Crainer.
Yeah, Brittany Crainer.
Okay, she was, she thought this country was not all that good. I mean, okay, I don't want to really speak of what she was thinking, but she wasn't happy. She's like, okay, now this is not, our system is broken, whatever. Then you go to Russia, they just put you in jail for something so little in this very country that you were just like, I don't know, like disliking, let's just say, right? I don't want to use the word hate. Goes out there and fights for you, and they bring you back.
And gives up a really
bad guy for you.
Yeah, a really
like
bad dude.
Arms dealer.
Yeah.
And they give that guy just so they can bring you back here. This, I promise you, if you were from many other countries, all right, well, sure, okay, then serve your time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and when you think about that too, I mean, she was a basketball player. We still have,
Yeah.
I feel bad because I had to kind of look it up. I was like, dude, we still have a Marine over there that's been jailed.
Yes.
Paul Whelan, I think is his name. And so it's like, dude, like, what is this? And we just gave up. I mean, the hypocrisy behind this administration giving up the world's most notorious, infamous arms dealer back to Russia, where he's probably going to go right back to doing what he did before.
Absolutely.
You know, like, I mean, you know what? Honestly, good on him. Just congratulations,
Dude,
bro. Congratulations.
I bet he believes we should all be armed.
Yeah, right. You know, what is it? The Nicolas Cage, like, you know, he said how many people are, you know, the Lord of War movie. You know, so many people are armed. And he's like, how do you arm the others? You know, how many billion? You know, whatever.
Do it again.
Like that.
That's awesome.
And dude, I mean, it's like, but anyway, I'm thinking to myself, the hypocrisy behind this administration freeing this Russian arms dealer and telling us as constituents, as citizens of this nation who actually have founding documents that protect our right, They don't grant our right. I mean, I want to go ahead and put that out there too. I think that's something when I hear is like, oh, well, the Constitution grants us rights. No, it doesn't. That protects our rights from the one entity that would be there to dismantle, infringe, and it's that government, right?
Yeah.
And that same government just said, hey, you know what? Even though he's not an American citizen, we're going to let him have all of it, right? We're going to just give him back up, you know, even though he's done all sorts of international crime, everything else. Yeah, we're going to trade him. But you right there, you can't have a pistol brace.
What did Hillary say? Well, his guns he's never actually hurt an American.
Oh my
himself, you know, his guns never did it. She made a comment like
What?
that, but yeah, Hillary Clinton, you know, because for obvious reasons.
Let's see. His guns never have, but I think there's another three-letter agency. I think something fast, something furious, something involved there. Maybe those guns actually did hurt American citizens.
Yeah.
But that whole agency, the ATF, still exists for some reason.
Yeah, right downstairs.
Yeah, all right. So let's talk about let's get spicy, right? Because here's something that was unbeknownst to us, and I think this was absolutely designed this way by design. We did not know that Dettelbach himself was actually going to be speaking.
Yeah, the director of ATF.
The director of the ATF was going to be speaking at SHOT Show at their little ATF Knicks convention thing that they had going on. I had no idea that this was even a thing.
Dude, I would have paid really good money to be in that room.
Honestly, that man, you and I were talking about this. I am very disappointed that room was not absolutely filled and that man didn't get one word out.
Was it even full? Like,
no, dude. The only picture. So the ATF,
so
they never told anybody.
Yeah,
the ATF actually posted on their Instagram. I have it pulled up and saved because I know we're going to be talking shit about it. And it's his panel, I guess his staff.
Yeah, it looks like his personal staff.
Yep. And then one guy in a chair, and that's what you see.
Oh,
and
big deal.
Yeah, you know, you see one guy in a chair sitting right in front of him, and Dettelbach's got his arm up. I don't know. He's probably talking about some other infringement he's about to enact.
Well, even if the room was filled with 200 people, you know, that he should have been made to answer some serious questions.
Oh, either made to answer some serious questions, or I mean, it should have been we call it the shit show, right?
Yeah, right.
It should have been such a shit show for them that he never was able to even get one word out and just booed off the stage.
Absolutely. It's just, you know, and I'm not here to knock people who were in that room, assuming that there were people in the room, because obviously they're there for business reasons. How do I make what you're trying to do still work for what I'm trying to do? But I think what he's actually trying to do supersedes what business owners are trying to do, because you don't have that friggin' business if you don't have that friggin' right. And you have the one guy that was appointed by Sniffy in chief to try to take that from you. And from what I heard from people who were in the room, there weren't a lot of people that were outraged. In fact, nobody was.
Which doesn't make sense.
There's a way out for that. I believe those were ticketed seats.
I'm sure they were.
All
Shot University.
sold to other strategically placed people.
Yeah.
Yeah, but even strategically placed people will probably be pissed. Should probably be pissed off. You know.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm just thinking like in a joke way, joking manner, right?
I'm sure
But
they set
put
the
their own
stage.
friends there.
Yeah, it was a fluff piece, you know.
Yeah.
But still, he should have been booed right off that damn stage before he said anything.
If it was honestly anybody, like the crowd that we have here, I'm sure they would have made some noise.
Yeah.
So it makes no sense to me that there were people in there and nothing happened. So
I am actually just kind of scrolling through some of the comments on the on the ATF's post. By the way, if you guys don't follow the ATF HQ on Instagram, so I'm going to say I do follow them. You know, it's not to support, but it is to troll. And I even commented. I said just at ATF HQ because I don't mind tagging them. Just leave. Like exit stage left in existence, that is. It's got a couple of likes there, and then some other people. How many showed up? Like 2. Use me as a dislike button, and this is my favorite one: L plus ratio plus no audience plus failing agency plus spanked by SCOTUS plus no dogs plus are those level 4 placed. Plus can't stop the signal, plus if braces get banned, I'm putting a stock on, plus get a real job, plus 0 drip. I just think that's kind of funny. Drip. And so, if you're not following the ATF on Instagram, you don't have to. Just every now and then, go on there and just read the comments from some of their posts. Oh, my God. Every year they do the entire, in memorial of Waco type of thing, and it shows all the agents. And it's like, oh, when are you going to list all the people that were fried?
Yeah, exactly.
How about that? How about all the kids that were, I don't know, in the modern day burn pit? You know what I mean? Don't see that post hardly ever.
Yeah. Shocker.
But, right. How about that?
Shocker.
But anyway, so let's talk about this too, because we were getting on the topic a little bit earlier about, like influencers, impactors, and how cool that is because we're not just dudes on the internet, just talking shit. We're actually like going to training events. We're meeting with different people. We're actually doing things, and we're trying to be movers and shakers within the industry, and then also within the community to get people active. Right. I tell people all the time, like, hey, dude, make sure you're getting involved in these local politics because it starts there.
Right.
It starts there, and then support organizations like Guns of America, Firearms Policy Coalition, the VCDL. Whenever Virginia had their stuff going on, there's the National Association of Gun Rights. There's a bunch of good
Second
ones.
Amendment Foundation. There's a ton of them.
There's a
and
bunch
they got a
of
call
good
too.
stuff.
Like they're talking about those calling. How GA was telling us
blow 'em
calling
up.
is much more impactful than emails.
Yeah.
Anything helps, but calling.
Yeah,
Make sure to call.
the way the value structure goes, like if you can take the time to pen a letter, that's weighted heavily.
Yeah.
Phone calls next, then an email if you have to, or actually in-person visits if you can get office hours with legislators. That's you got them. You have a captive audience.
Right.
Email. Email works if you have no other way to get it done, but too many people take it because it's usually like 4 seconds to click a form letter.
Yeah, right.
And if you read some of the comments that the ETF referenced when they dropped their pistol brace final rule, they said, oh yeah, we got like 35,000 comments in a form style from this agency. But just the way they mentioned that tells you that they didn't put any value to it because 25,000 people said the exact same thing in the form letter.
Right.
So that's all right. That 25,000 people, that's the value of one comment because it all says the same thing.
Yep.
People have to understand. We're lazy. Our lives, we're busy. We got kids, we got wives, husbands. We're busy. I get it, but we don't have what we have now if we let our freedoms go away.
That's right.
So take friggin' 10 minutes out of your life and actually write something on how that pistol brace rule or frame receiver rule affects you, because it will affect you. And they want to hear how it'll affect you. Or my mom was in this kind of incident and this gun saved her life, and you're trying to take that away from her. Or this tool saved me because of this.
Yeah.
That's what they want. But people will just, it's too easy. I can click here, click there, done, I did my job.
Right.
And it's not the way it really is.
You're just saying that your mom or whoever was in this incident saved their lives and stuff. And I know you're prior law enforcement, and you've seen some stuff. So we almost never hear about these guns that are so demonized, saving lives out there every single day. Police officers are out there with their own guns. How many times you save lives?
Even the individual citizens.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, yeah.
Millions of times a year.
Yeah.
Yes, you never hear about that.
Yeah, I will say that if the NRA does one thing that's good, I will say in some of their publications they actually have like there's a story typically in the back of their magazine or whatever, and there's an article about I can't remember what it's called now, but anyway, it's a story about how a gun was used to save a life or in a defensive situation or something like that. you know, and it's like, dude, that's good, you know, put that out there, but you know, it's only like one story. I'm like, dude, there's dozens a day.
Oh yeah, it's so many that the CDC deleted all the information.
Right. Yeah. Imagine that. You know, it's like, dude, there's so much that people don't understand, and a lot of times too, it's not even a pull of a trigger. It's you know, I don't want to say brandishing because that's incorrect, but it's drawing a gun.
Yeah.
It's presenting that firearm. You know, when you've got an assailant headed to you, it might be a knife or something like that. And all of a sudden they realize, like, you know what? This probably isn't a good idea.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then on occasion, you know, I'll never forget the video that I watched one time. The guy was beating on a door, and he had like a machete or something, and it was a disgruntled neighbor, and he was beating on the door of this apartment building, and this guy had his gun. I don't know why a part of me thinks it's like it was a judge or something like that, 410, you know. But the guy was yelling at him like, "Do not come in here, dude! Like, stop beating on my door. If you come in here, I will shoot you. I will shoot you. Please stop, stop, stop!" And next thing you know, that door comes down, and the dude's face, he was dead set on killing somebody.
Oh, yeah.
You could see it in his eyes, dude. And next thing you know, he walks through the camera frame and he kind of walks off camera. Then you hear the pop, 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 and you hear the groaning. You know, if you've heard somebody get shot and they are dying, you hear this natural guttural groan, and you can hear it. You know what I mean? Like I can hear it now, from different things. But you know, it's like, dude, and it's like, what if all of a sudden, you know, you couldn't have that gun? And what, you're supposed to be chopped up with a machete? That sounds like a pretty shitty way to die.
Yeah, become a victim because we're afraid of your gun. We don't like it. It doesn't make us feel safe.
And but I will say, and I preach this all the time too, is, you know, not only should you contact your local representatives, you not only should you get involved and all that stuff, but get out there and get training too. And then I will say this, post it.
Yes.
Put it all over social media, because that right there, that's not out of the norm. When people say, you know, like, oh, you're running around in body armor and night vision and stuff, like, what are you doing? You're
LARPers.
Yeah, you're a LARPer. And I'm like, first of all, it's damn good exercise.
Yeah.
Secondly, what are you doing actually to make this the norm? Because right now, you know what I'm doing? I'm out here showing people, like, hey, not only is this a damn good time and fun and a good workout and stuff, but I'm also showing people, like, don't fuck with us. Like, dude, let's this is the norm. Like, me riding around with body armor and a Mark 18 that's completely kitted out and my helmet and all that stuff, I do that because, first of all, I enjoy it. And on top of that, will I have time to actually don all that stuff if a bad situation comes up? Probably not.
Right.
But the good news is I do have it, right? Just never know, right? I'd rather have it and not need it.
Ukraine.
Yeah, right. But on top of that, too, like, again, I just want to spread that and make that just, you know, the normal everyday thing. The 2A community, first of all, as the United States, we should all just be part of this thing called the 2A community. But if you look at, you know, over the years of progression, right, you know, being a proud firearms owner, you know, way back when, post-World War II, you had an M1 Garand, M1 carbine, stuff that you used to, you know, kill Nazis with, right? That's pretty cool. And then all of a sudden it starts to develop over time. All of a sudden now, especially with the competition world, competition blew up, you know? And then all of a sudden, you know, you look in the past. And I actually want to blame YouTube. I love doing this, because the same platform that gave us 2 strikes and might be taking away our Classic Firearms YouTube channel and is you know, demonetized, has actually hit all sorts of other gun tubers. The same platform that's doing all that, I do believe, is directly responsible for making all the cool gun stuff that we see today and that people are in demand for the norm.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And they made a lot of money off of everybody they're attaching right now.
Yeah.
You know, that people don't realize that YouTube's ads that you watch or click off of, they make a lot of money annually off of the Second Amendment community, but they just don't want us there. It's amazing.
It is. It's pretty funny. The irony is huge. In fact, I mean, we're gonna have Demo Ranch on later too, and it's like, dude, he was the first one to hit like 10 million, 11 million subscribers on YouTube, and I'm sure YouTube is a fan of him.
Oh yeah. I mean,
you know. So
it's insane how they just cherry pick.
Yeah.
It's like Instagram, like my own Instagram account. When I type my name, even fully, Jared.
Yeah, I just did it the other night. Yeah.
Fan pages come up. Like, I don't know how many fan pages, and mine is not even there. Like, fully typed out. It's at the very bottom.
Yeah.
Like, how's that possible?
Yeah, we did it. Let's see, Gun Drummer was trying to tag, you know, at Classic Firearms Official on Instagram, and I was like, all right, cool. He typed in Classic Firearms, and I was like, nope, can't do that. It's like, you have to spell it out verbatim, every single letter, all the way down to the L in Official, before our legitimate account pops up, and then on top of that, we're behind Classic Firearm Official, which is a poser account.
Fake, yeah.
Yeah, it's just a fake account, dude. So it's all over the place. And of course, social media doesn't want us there. We won't ever get a blue check or anything like that for verification, even though we are the most.
Actually, you can. It's $8 a month. At Twitter.
That's Twitter, right? Yeah. But that's which is really funny. But here's the thing that we get all these fraud accounts that are literally scamming and ripping people off, and a lot of people unfortunately fall for it. Like, come on, guys, be a little bit more observant, be a little bit more vigilant. First of all, if you're following us, you're probably into guns anyway, and you naturally should be. So don't fall for that stuff. And of course, Instagram's never going to look at us as, oh, you're legitimate. You're a legitimate business. Like, dude, if we were actually doing illegal stuff, we would. Well, for one, be in jail. Yeah. Two, wouldn't have a livelihood. Three, wouldn't have a business. We would be shut down.
Oh, yeah.
So we are actually more legitimate than probably most of the other accounts that do have blue checks. Yeah. Because we have to jump through all these hoops, have to abide by all these little laws and rules and everything else that come out by these tyrannical agencies. And so it's like, we put in the work to make sure we are doing the right thing. And then some obscure policy that you don't even have written is something that we are, apparently not following by, and you're going to go ahead and ban us, Well,
that's why I think what you guys are doing right here is amazing, because you're getting people aware of, we in our own echo chamber, we want everybody to just understand how it's affecting us. Mm-hmm. But you're bringing people on. I mean, it's affected me. Yeah. Adpocalypse destroyed the trajectory of my channel for 5 years, 4 years since then. Or if I say the wrong thing, for instance, when the bump stock ban was overturned, I put the word bump stock in my title. I mean, I wasn't showing bump stocks. Yeah. It was all talking about the court decision. And those 2 videos were immediately demonetized, and my views were just destroyed for 3-4 days. So, they absolutely try to shut you up.
Dude, you were talking about the election, too, like your channel, which is supposed to be killing it with the views, and you were just completely shut down.
Yeah,
right?
typically every year, every prior election, presidential election specifically, I've done really, really well, because I get people aware of what the candidates are saying on both sides of the aisle. For instance, when the year Donald Trump won, there were 14 or 15 candidates on the Democrat side, and 12 or 13 of them said, I'm gonna take, hell yes, I'm gonna take your AR. Remember that stuff? That was that year. And then everybody else jumped in and filed suit, including Tulsi Gabbard, who's now telling everybody she's pro 2A. Those are the reasons. That's the reason I do that stuff, so that when people change because they want a different career path, that's still documented. And I did really good that year on views and getting people aware of what these candidates were saying. But come this past year, they didn't want guns and gadgets talking about these candidates.
I don't think they didn't want any of us.
Any of us
with our mindset. This pro 2A freedom mindset. They don't. They don't want what they consider cancer to spread.
Oh, absolutely. Right? And they've ramped up their control.
Oh yeah.
Of what people say in the First Amendment and all that stuff in the years since. And thanks to Elon Musk for actually showing it and showing how deep the the FBI, the federal government are in all this stuff.
Right. And so here's the other thing too. When I say they don't want this, at all like this to spread, because here's what we're doing ultimately too, and here's something that I preach and I know you do as well, is if you're going to be a firearms owner, this isn't just you owning a tool. This is a lifestyle and a mindset that you have to maintain, and that also preaches independence.
Right.
That means that you are also going to be taking the responsibility and the safety of those that you care for and yourself in your own hands, and that right there is not dependency on the government. That is not right there going to be offering them control over you. Firearm ownership, what I don't think people understand, firearm ownership is something that, again, can translate to mean so much more than just owning a tool. Mm-hmm. Like I said, lifestyle, mindset, and it spreads out from there. Personally, I look at firearm ownership as that's a basic. You know what else is a basic? Making sure that you're mentally fit and hey, don't get me wrong, we're coming here to Vegas, we're having a good time at SHOT Show and everything, but every now and then you're in a room full of dudes that typically have this type of mindset, and every now and then you'll just see the guys just kind of let's just look around. Yeah. Let's look around, head on a swivel. All right, cool, everybody seems to be having a good time. Well, why is all the security walking over there?
Yep. Yeah.
Hey, hold up. Let's look, and then all of a sudden you see everybody, they're whoop.
Yeah. And
then with our mindset here, all of us are every now and then you might see somebody oh shit, I don't have mine on me.
Good, you're drinking.
Yeah, it's oh crap. Yeah, exactly. I'm all right, what do I do now? I got my pocket knife. All right, cool. What's next? That bar stool? That's not latched down. That's a good weapon. You know what I mean? And so it's that, that one mind, any weapon type of mindset too that you get involved in. But, so it's a lifestyle thing. It's the mentally fit, keeping up your physical fitness as well, because dude, Look, you might be able to draw down on a guy, but what if he gets on top of you? Right. What if all of a sudden he's trying to get on your gun? Now all of a sudden to get the martial arts aspect in it. Now all of a sudden, okay, you shoot a guy, he's no longer a threat, he's bleeding out. What are you going to do now? Are you going to render aid?
Yeah, you're going to plug the hole.
All right, so cool. How are you going to do that? Do you have any type of medical experience? Do you have any type of medical knowledge? Do you have a medical kit on you? right? All of a sudden, it's like, damn, this goes a little bit further than I thought it did. Yeah, dude. So I do not advocate for mandatory training to own a firearm. But I will say I wish that there was a way that you could just beat into people's heads, and I will do it every chance I get on the podcast, YouTube channel, whatever it might be. You know what? If you're going to own this gun, take it upon yourself to let that be just one stepping stone in changing your lifestyle and becoming a much better citizen and an asset and not a liability. And how do you do that? You got to train, and you got to find other ways that you can be an effective individual in this community.
So
absolutely.
So this was for Alec Baldwin then? This speech was
so, Alec Baldwin, if he would have watched one of our YouTube videos, he would have known how to clear a firearm, and he wouldn't be in the situation he's in today.
Yeah, well, he thought he had people for that, didn't he?
Well, you know, it's hey, I live by the Ronald Reagan quote, trust but verify.
Yep.
You know, being a staff sergeant in the Marine Corps, I got squad leaders, I got fire team leaders. Oh, yeah, I passed the word. Okay, cool. Next thing you know, I never got told this. Why am I supposed to show up with this gear? Nobody told me that.
Right.
And it's like, all right, cool. You know what? Just maybe CC me in the email thread next time. You know, like I'll treat you like an adult until you give me a reason not to, right? So as far as Alec Baldwin goes,
you want to jump into that?
Yeah,
It
just came down. Yeah, as of like what, today or yesterday, right?
This morning they
this
did
morning.
the press conference.
I got
this
the
morning.
news from you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Your
I literally
Guns
opened up
and Gadget
as soon as I
Instagram.
opened my Instagram after interviewing Beretta for one of their 1301s that they came, or the A300, which is a sexy shotgun, by the way. I opened up my Instagram and I was like, oh, Jared, I'll be meeting with him in just a little bit. And I was like, oh, involuntary manslaughter. So yeah, tell us about it, man.
Yeah, so the Santa Fe sheriff in New Mexico and the DA had a little powwow this morning, and they have charged Alec Baldwin with 2 counts of involuntary manslaughter in the shooting death of Helena Hutchins, and also the armorer was also charged with 2 counts of involuntary manslaughter as well, Gutierrez Reed. Hannah. So they are both facing 18 months in prison per charge, and we'll see what happens going forward. But for everybody who was saying, the elitists will never be jammed up, we have a little bit of justice being served today.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting, man. Yeah, and it's a shitty situation all around.
Do you know
it
the
sucks.
details of that? Like, okay, I legit don't know the nitty-gritty details. Like, what happened there exactly?
So the long and the short of it, I did like 5 videos on it. I was lucky.
Yeah, if you followed him, you know.
Yeah, if you subscribed back then.
I just met you at the GOA
I know.
event, and I've been following you since, I promise.
It's and that's the one good thing about my channel is that people, I've been doing it so long, people trust me. So literally the day that an hour after that happened, I was getting communication from the set. And that firearm that they used on that set that ultimately shot and killed Helena Hutchins, there was no real control, like the way that typical weapons on movie sets should be controlled. There was no second checks. That gun was being used to go target practicing, after hours. So they knew that they had live ammo. They knew that gun was shooting live ammo, and then they didn't take what they were supposed to. The procedures that were set forth weren't really covered. There's questions about the professionalism or the ability to do their job as professional as possible with people who were involved with that handgun. So unfortunately, it wasn't cleared. It should have been cleared. Everybody who touched that gun, it was their responsibility, including the actors, to clear that firearm, because it's in my. I do it. I mean, if you hand me a gun right now, the first thing I'm gonna do is rack the slider, open the cylinder, and look.
Even if I do like this way too, right? Like, oh, it's clear. I just cleared it, man.
Doesn't matter.
Right. Doesn't matter.
Even if I saw you, if I saw it in the chamber, I don't care.
Yep.
I'm doing it every single time.
Yep.
And he didn't do it, and he actually said, people hand me that cleared gun, it's cleared. That's their job. No, it's your job.
That's right.
Because you're the one who said you didn't pull the trigger, and with that firearm, you actually have to pull the trigger.
Oh yeah.
Oh, he said he did not pull.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he went on news right away and told people I did not pull that trigger. And, well, yeah, you did.
Yeah, you did.
Because the gun doesn't go off on its own.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But and here we are today. A little bit of righteousness for the family. Who are suffering without a mom and a wife. And we'll see if he gets actually convicted.
How do you think it's going to turn out?
Well, I like yourself being with a law enforcement background, the fact that he's charged says a lot.
A lot.
Right.
Because that dude has a lot of money to make it go away.
Yeah.
And there was enough public outcry, and he's in a state, in a location where the sheriff is actually looking to make sure what's supposed to be done is supposed to be done. I think he's going to get jail time.
I think so too.
Will he get the 18 months? Will they run a concurrent? Or I don't know if they'll do that stuff. But I think he's going to get some time.
Yeah.
and he should get some time, because if it was any of us sitting in this room,
Oh yeah. Oh,
we would have
absolutely.
been behind bars 10 minutes after that incident when police showed up. We would have been in cuffs. We would have been incarcerated until they decide, was it something we did or whatever. We would have all been in prison.
Yeah.
And the fact that he was allowed to go to different countries and go on vacation and go across the country and talk about it is absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
But I will also say this. I am a strong proponent of you are innocent until you are proven guilty.
Yes.
But there were a lot of facts that came out that made it difficult for him to say the things that he was saying. So when you go out and you run your mouth after you have a criminal incident, it was not smart for him. I mean, his attorneys should have been like, just put a zipper on his mouth. So he made his bed, and we'll see what happens when the judge gets the opportunity to decide what happens from here.
Yeah, the smartest thing you can do if you ever, even if you're in a legal, like, once determined clean shoot, just don't talk. Don't talk.
Period.
Yep. Don't talk.
Like,
there are USCCA.
USCCA, yeah.
There's conceal safe, something like that.
Yeah, CCW safe. There's a bunch of them out there, and even there are great attorneys out there across this country who are self-defense attorneys, and they'll tell you, shut up.
Yeah, just don't talk.
You have a right. When I was on the job, I used to tell people, you have the right to remain silent. I strongly suggest you exercise that right.
Yeah.
And sometimes people, they feel the need that they need to, tell them what they were thinking, what was going through their mind, and they usually talk themselves into trouble.
Dude, it's one of those things. Like, people think, don't talk means also like be mean, disrespectful to the officers. No, you can be very respectful. Be like, hey, you know what? I appreciate it, but I don't want to say anything.
Yeah, no,
it's simple.
I just want to talk to my attorney.
Simple. Thank you. Just want to talk to my attorney.
Yep.
Thank you.
So
thank you.
That's what you should do. Absolutely, as a former LE myself as well.
Shut up.
I have, dude. Speaking of that, there was an incident a long time ago, and I'm glad this guy actually talked. But this guy just beat his girlfriend, and she passed away. And he's in the back of my car. We are going downtown. So he's gonna be interviewed, whatever. And I'm not even asking him anything. Okay, I'm not even the one who's gonna interview him. Detectives are going to, and I'm a rookie cop, a couple of years in. And this dude, from the scene all the way to the station, said so much to me. And I would tell him, I was like, hey man, you don't have to talk, you can kind of wait. Nope, he kept saying things, and everything he's saying, I'm taking these notes. We get to the station, and he tells me more things. And I'm like taking these notes, just sitting there. And I'm not asking him a single question. And this report is like 2 pages long, like my narrative. And I get to testify in court on all of his sentences, all the things that he said, and his behavior and all that.
Yeah, it's all exculpatory. Yeah.
And boom, like, they were having a hard time, right, with some of the stories that he was saying. Obviously, they had some evidence. But the story that I had, like the stuff that I had, was so compelling. The jury just booked him, man. Yeah, he walked, he stepped on his own tail big time.
Yeah, it happens a lot. I mean, one thing I still tell people to this day is, like, when you're talking to a cop and they're investigating perceived crime, they're not there to be your friends. They're there to gather evidence.
That's
They're building a case against you.
Yeah,
so if you happen to utilize your firearm in defending yourself or others, there is some value of saying, that's him, that's the gun, he was there, that person saw it. But short of that, let your attorney do all the talking for you. And far too often, like, if law enforcement's in a shoot, they give us 48, 72 hours before we have to give a statement, right? Because you have to decompress. You have to remember, because you often forget stuff when you're in that stage. When you get in that scenario, you don't remember everything, and you perceive things differently. You smell things that weren't there. You might see somebody wearing red and think it was yellow. So we get 72 hours minimum before we're even required to talk. But if you're on the street and you defend yourself, they want a statement right then and there.
Right then.
So talk to your attorney. Let them defend you. Let them do their job. Let them earn their money.
Yeah. And going back, I mean, just shutting up is really good advice, right?
Absolutely.
And so Alec Baldwin, getting back to that, I mean, he did not. And trying to say, dude, and he trying to say, like, the gun went off by itself. I didn't pull the trigger. I didn't pull the trigger.
Right.
And it's like, well, that's funny, because that's like a double action only, and it's exactly a pretty hard trigger pull, or not a double action, but sometimes a single action only. So, which is easy to go off. Yeah, it is. It's a really light trigger pull, but did you hear what I said? It's a really light trigger pull.
You got to press on it.
You have to press on it. And, I just want to throw this out there. I do believe that Hollywood, if you're listening, if you're listening, there are so many of us that actually know firearms that would probably actually not take a huge paycheck, especially if we could put other people in the safe, like, hey, just let us be the RSO if you're going to have guns on your set. Just hire me. First of all, I'll give you good information, because as much as I liked the Reacher series, whenever he said that a 95 grain 9mm bullet was subsonic, I was like, you mother.
95 grain.
95. I was like, that is extra spicy.
And they'll blow your lungs out.
And it'll blow your lungs out. Yeah. Thanks,
Walking
JB.
Dead.
Yeah. But dude, I'm over here like, dude, that's not accurate. And so gun guys that are actually in all this stuff, we're watching this and I'm like, dude, this is actually pretty cool. This is a good show. I really like it. And then all of a sudden they say something like that and it completely takes me out of it. And I'm like, do I even want to finish watching? You know what? I'm just going to pause it today, because this little bit of information upset me so much. I'll hit play, whatever. It's like, screw it. I'll just keep going. But of course, whoever I'm watching it with, whether it be my significant other or anything like that, I'll turn and I'll just be like, do you realize how wrong that is? And they're like, yes, just shut up and just keep watching, please.
You always have to know everything.
Yeah, right. It's like I'm sitting there. I was like, oh, that's a Beretta M9. It's like, oh my goodness, that's the HKP7 that Hans Gruber is using. You don't see that too often. And so I know there's a lot of us gun guys that try to identify every little thing, all this stuff. And then of course, in some of our series, we always say like the top 5 guns from this movie, or something like that. And I say it all the time, man. And we also did the top movie mistakes.
Oh yeah, those are awesome.
Yeah,
we want to do it again. I want to do it again.
Yeah, dude, there's so many, man. And I'm like, dude,
who's consulting them?
Yeah, who is consulting them? I'm like, anti-gun people, and it honestly is a safety hazard. It's a safety hazard. You have people that aren't pro-gun, or actually, you don't even have to be pro-gun. I would actually respect people a lot more if they spoke negatively or against something they actually knew information about. Yeah. You come to me and you can tell me the inner workings inside out of a firearm, how it works, and all of a sudden you say, and here's why I think we shouldn't have it. All right, cool. But then you got other people like, who was that? Stacey Abrams or whoever the hell it was. It weighs as much as 20 moving boxes. Sheila Jackson Lee. Thank you. Yeah. Who says, it weighs as much as 20 moving boxes.
Yeah, an AR-15.
Yeah, I'm like, an AR-15 weighs as much as 20 moving boxes. Sheila Jackson Lee.
What size? Small? Medium?
Yeah, I'm like, what's a moving box? Like, what size is that? Like, if I'm moving from my apartment where I've only got my TV, I might not even use a box. You know what I mean?
Or even the assault weapon ban when it passed the House. I did that live stream. It was like 13 hours, and then you had people on the left and the Democrat side that were saying, a round goes through and turns bone into shards, which liquefies organs and stuff like that. And like, you don't even know what you're talking about. Like you said, to what you said, they should absolutely be educated in what they're talking about.
Yeah, or one of my favorites. This is a ghost gun.
Yeah.
A 30 magazine clip. Yeah. I'm like, whoa, hold up. Yeah.
And to bring that back to the person listening, that is where you come in to play. It is our job to educate these legislators who have Harvard degrees and don't care about learning the inner workings of it. That's why we call them, because they are told by their leadership, support this bill, don't support that bill.
Right.
They don't know what changing the definition of an AR or frame or receiver is going to do. They don't know that a slidey piece of plastic called a bump stock is not accurate at all. They don't know that, So it's on us. That's why I say call these people, because we the people have the friggin' power in this country, but we the people have forgotten that, and we're too lazy.
Yeah, no, and actually to go back to what you said before too, complacency kills, right? We're taught that in the Marine Corps. We're taught that like, hey, if you get used to something every single day, you get comfortable, you get lazy, complacency will kill you, because and the example that's always given to us, and this isn't going to obviously relate to a lot of people, but the example that's always given to us is you're doing a patrol on the same street every single day, right? And then all of a sudden you see a cardboard box that wasn't there yesterday, and you're like, it's just trash, whatever. This has always been a safe street. Next thing you know, that's where the IED is.
Yep.
That's where the pressure pad is that you decided to step on because you got bored, and now you're dead. Now your buddies are dead. Now your legs are missing. Now you're in a bad way. Now let's come over here. Okay, cool. Now you're a U.S. citizen. You're happy on your McDonald's and everything else. You're living your life. And it's like, and I don't really. It would be an inconvenient for me. Okay, so they're going to ban pistol braces. All right, well, I guess I'll just throw mine away. Do I really use it that much? It's not that big of a deal, right? Let's go back even further, the bump stocks.
Right.
You think they're just going to stop at bump stocks, dude? And that's the other thing I keep hearing is like, you gun owners, why won't you guys ever compromise? And I say to them, okay, when was the last time you compromised?
Yeah, 100%. We've never gotten anything in return.
We've always sacrificed. We've always given away. How about this? When the Republicans had pretty much what they had, did they not have all three branches?
First 2 years of Trump.
First 2 years of Trump, we didn't get national reciprocity. We didn't get national concealed carry. We didn't get the GCA to go away, the Gun Control Act, gone. We didn't get the NFA, gone. We didn't even get 1 penny of defunding for the ATF.
But you know what we did get? Take the guns first, due process second.
That is right.
We did get I don't like suppressors.
Yeah.
We did get take away those bump stocks.
Yeah.
And that was from a Republican majority.
Yeah, and so that pissed me off, and I will never forget that. And so when Matt Gaetz pulls this little stunt, abolish the ATF or whatever, and I'm like, that's cute, dude.
Yeah,
that's cute. Where were you? Where was the action taken under those first 2 years under Trump? And so to kind of get back with what I was saying about the compromise thing. It's just so frustrating because it's like, I'm sorry, we compromised. No, we sacrificed with the National Firearms Act. We sacrificed with the Gun Control Act. Here's what compromise would be. You know what? Cool. You guys take bump stocks, give us national constitutional carry. That's what compromise is. You give and take.
Right.
All right. However, we're not getting any of that. And first of all, I love GOA for this no compromise stance.
Absolutely.
Screw you. Well, I'm done giving up anything. You know what I haven't done? I haven't lost a damn thing in a boating accident. Go fuck yourself.
Right.
And I don't plan on losing anything in a boating accident.
I don't even have a boat.
I don't actually. You know what? I don't. I don't. At one point, I had a canoe, and you know what? I didn't lose anything in that either. And so this is, and I hate when I hear people say this because I'm like, if you get to the point where you have to say, oh, I lost that, we're too far. We're too far as it is.
Yeah, it's rights supersede feelings. The rights of we the people are not negotiable. And one thing I know it sells T-shirts. Shall not be infringed, or I'm not a boating accident or whatever. It all sells T-shirts. It's great. But on the law enforcement side, if you say that, if ATF shows up and you say I lost that in a boating accident, well, now you just incriminated yourself for losing or having a gun stolen and not reporting it.
Yeah.
People just, I get it, I understand it. We shouldn't be complying, or we will not comply. It is our country. We're going to stop it. They're going to lose in court. But more people absolutely need to have that attitude, like this is ours and you can't have it. And that's what the Constitution is. It's a limitation on government. It's not a limitation on us.
That's right. And that's what I was saying before. The Constitution doesn't grant us anything. It is a limitation on government, right? Our rights are guaranteed by us, guaranteed to us, by our Creator.
Right.
And we have the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, and ain't nothing going to take that away from us unless we allow it.
Right.
The federal agent swears an oath, like local guys state too, like uphold the Constitution and protect the U.S. Citizens of the United States. Literally, that's what the FBI is, right? The mission. And yet, you're able to pass a rule, whatever that is completely infringes that Constitution, the Second Amendment.
Oh, yeah.
Like, how does that work? I'm trying to understand that.
Well,
how does that work? You swear on that.
Because, it works because we allow it.
We'll look at it even this way. Let's take the mind of a person who wants rights to be more liberal. Okay, with handicapped people, we should be passing laws that greatly enhance their way of life, so that things are easier, not harder for them.
Yeah.
Right.
Whether it's a ramp, elevator access, whatever it is, right? Well, now they're taking something away that was made so that a handicapped individual can be more accurate with a firearm. So now you're telling me you want them to be more unable to hit their target when you might only get one shot, and they don't have that stabilizing brace so that they can save their lives. So are we now passing laws or rules with the teeth of law against handicapped individuals, and nobody cares about it? Nobody's even talking about that.
Right.
Yeah.
There are a lot of handicapped individuals who utilize a brace because they have one arm, or they don't have strength, or they were damaged in war.
A lot of vets.
Yeah, a lot of vets.
Yeah.
And now we're going to say, screw you guys and gals, because we don't like it because it's, it's got 2 rubber flaps and a strap, and every now and then someone might throw it on a shoulder. Like, that's the Second Amendment. Read it to me. It doesn't say anything about surface area. It doesn't say anything about, extending anything towards a shooter. It doesn't say anything about, do you have you need eye relief on that optic? Is there a forward grip? Is it 90 degrees or is it 89 degrees? None of that's in there. Yeah, we have these ass clowns in the ATF who think they can tell us how our rights are to be exercised. You know what? And screw them.
Yeah, what is in there though is shall not be infringed.
Yeah.
Yes.
And the infringements just keep damn happening. And again, it's because we keep allowing it. And, it's, we kind of look at each other. It's like, well, I'm just one guy, right? I'm just one guy. What can one guy do? You see 3 guys right here talking about it on a podcast that's hopefully going to reach tens of thousands of people at least, right? And I hope that also encourages you guys to go out there and speak to your neighbor and say, hey, I know you don't own a firearm.
Yeah.
Maybe you do own a firearm. Maybe you don't own a brace, or maybe you do own a brace. Hey, do you realize what the ATF is doing?
Absolutely.
Because there's so many people, I guarantee you right now, that are owning, 40 million, potentially 40 million braces in circulation that are out there, right?
At least.
At least. Yeah, there's got, like I said, I own a few. Not afraid to admit it.
Yep.
Don't plan on registering them.
Yep.
Just going to go and throw it out there.
What?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, how about that? But here's the thing. You've got so many of them out there. I guarantee you there's at least one person out of that 40 million that has no idea this is happening.
Oh,
and
100%.
they have no idea that they could be considered a felon overnight if they don't do what they're supposed to do within those 120 days. But are we holding the ATF accountable for what if they don't do what they're supposed to do, and all of a sudden you're outside of that range?
Right.
How about that?
And that's the power of, like you said, the power of communication and notifying people. The three people sitting at this table have the ability to reach millions of people at any moment. But we need those millions of people to actually reach more people.
That's right.
That's why we always say like and subscribe or share it. Share that information. Talk about it at work. Go about it with your family, because you're like, your mom's not watching YouTube. You know, so how is she going to get that information?
Right.
You know, the guy down the street who's older and maybe doesn't have an iPhone. Maybe you still uses a flip. You know, they're not watching YouTube, and it's incumbent upon us to take care of our fellow Americans. You know, and education and information goes a long way towards that.
Yes, it does.
It really does. And has ATF released any statements about that, how long it would take for the tax stamp?
So they said,
I'm just really curious, because right now, as is, you guys know what's going on.
Oh,
so.
yeah.
well, that's the funny part. No. I mean, like they've said
10 years.
Yeah, they've said, you know, they'll throw out a day here, date there. I mean, whenever they started doing like the e-forms, you know, they're like, oh yeah, within like 3 months is what I think they said. You know, and I'm like, okay, cool. And then sometimes some people get it back really quick, and then other people like, maybe not. And here's the thing, though, and this is something that was really good that Steve with GOA brought up. Was that, let's say you're outside of this 88-day period. There's something about 88 days. Let's say you get it outside the 120 days. If you don't have it submitted within those 88 days, you're an automatic denial. But guess what? You've submitted. If you don't have it approved.
Right.
You've submitted. So now you've actually submitted that says, hey, I have the thing that you're trying to ultimately outlaw, right? I have this. You're admitting that you do own this non-serialized item. They can't prove that you have it. And I doubt, I mean, again, 40 million, you think there's businesses that are out of business that have sold these things, and you're not going to be able to track down those receipts or records of sales. And you know, I can't speak for what our business is going to do for Classic Firearms at this point, but I can pretty much guarantee you right now, if the ATF came knocking and said, hey, we need to know everybody that's ever bought an SB tactical brace, that's going to be a long time for us to track down all those sales. We'll get back to you. Yeah. Go fuck yourself. How about that? So, you know, I like I said, I can't speak on what behalf the company is going to do if that happens. Hopefully it never happens. Hopefully this doesn't even pass. I know GOA is working on, you know, stopping this stuff.
Yeah, they're working literally day and night. In fact, one of their attorneys, Rob, isn't here because he's working on that stuff. You know, we shouldn't even be where we are. But like Kai was saying with the timetable, even with their normal workload, people are taking 6 months before they get their whatever they submit their form for. Sometimes it's longer. So in a 120-day period, you want 40 million people or 40 million transactions to enter this system. If you've used the e-form system, it's terrible. It sucks. It's a government website, and it's so bad that 1 day a week it's shut down for maintenance. Yeah. So now you have 6 days a week in order to get 120. Of that 120 days, you're going to lose 1 day a week to have 40 million transactions on top of the transactions they currently have that they can't keep up with. That system's going to crash. We've seen it before. One of the reasons the pistol rule was delayed to when it came out this past Friday was because they were, supporting infrastructure and try to get the system ready to do more. But it's the government. When has the government ever put their hands on anything that's actually improved? Right. Just like when has they given rights back? They don't. You have to take real rights back by force.
That's right. I mean, once gone, always gone.
Yeah.
That's and we've seen that throughout history, time and time and time again. So no, I don't think it's going to be an effective thing whatsoever. And then on top of that, this oh hey, I know we're going to be turning this into a NFA item, and but we'll throw you a bone, and you can at least register it without having to pay a tax stamp. So you should take advantage of that. And look, I'll be honest with you. I do have 3 NFA items. I got my 2 silencers, and 2 more, a couple silencers, and my SBR, right? And that's because I'm in front of the camera, and I'm going to want to make sure I got this, kind of nice and everything. I'm not going to admit to anything else I own, but the government knows at least about those items, right? And I like my silencers and stuff like that. Now, I paid my tax stamps on those, and that sucks. And of course, honestly, if I were to do it again, because I did that when I was young.
Yep.
I did that, I think I turned, I was 21 maybe or something like that, and I was like, hell yeah, dude, I want a SBR. That's so cool. At $200, that sucks, but you know what, I'm going to do it. And if I were to do it again, I would have bought a pistol version, and I'll be honest, I probably would have made my own silencers. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. I probably would have.
Yeah.
But at this point, it's a little too late for me, and I don't think I really agree with I don't agree with any of it. You've got this registration. I shouldn't have to pay an additional tax for anything, especially an exercise a right.
Yes.
Are you kidding me, dude? No, get the hell out of here with this nonsense.
Well, even on that, it's going to like Oprah, you get a free SBR. You get a free SBR. A lot of people don't understand the restrictions placed on SBRs. And if you live, I live on a border town, I could literally travel 2 miles to my right and I'll be in Connecticut, and 2 miles to my left, I'll be in Rhode Island. Well, you can't even go 2 miles to your left or right if you have an NFA item without prior approval by the ATF, which sometimes it takes you a year for them to approve that. So people need to understand when they say, well, I'll just take a free SBR. There's a lot of stuff. There's a registry.
Yeah.
There's a lot of reasons you shouldn't want to register that gun,
right.
or go into the NFA. Yeah, then I tried the NFA, talk about conspiracy theories. I tried to form a gun that I bought because I wanted a particular folding stock, because it was badass.
Yeah.
So I submitted to Form 1 it, and maybe it's just me, maybe it's because the ATF doesn't like me, but I was denied 4 times.
Oh wow!
To transaction to turn that into an SBR. The first time was they said I quote unquote didn't submit my photos with the application when I put the photos on 4 different locations. And then it was I didn't give them a copy of my license to carry in Massachusetts, which was BS because I put it in 2 different locations in supplemental forms. And then the third time they denied me was because they said I didn't have the right to have that in Massachusetts. And so I called West Virginia. Was like, not only did I give you my license to carry, but I also have law enforcement credentials. So what's the next time?
Yeah.
So I did a 4th time. They've denied me 4 times. So what are they going to do if I were to lose my mind and want to submit to this free SBR? If they've denied me 4 times to try to do it the right way.
Yeah.
Just because I wanted a JMAC Customs frickin' folder,
Hell yeah.
They can't even do their damn job before people add 100 and, in a 120-day area add 10 million to 40 million, transactions. It's just insane.
Wow.
They suck at what they do.
Yeah, they suck at what they do. Except that one thing they do really good is infringe
and kill dogs.
Yeah, that's right, man. That's right. The Gun Owners of America patch, save a pup, defund the ATF. Dude, that stuff's too funny, man. Yeah. But yeah, it's all really unfortunate. And so again, I'm going to encourage people. Hey, we're going to bring them up again. Gun Owners of America. Support these organizations that are actually standing and fighting for your rights.
Right.
Gun rights are civil rights. I believe that 110%. You dude, look at a lot of crime, right? You look at a lot of crime that takes place with firearms, and then you look at the demographics in these different areas, and you look at these different laws that come out, and it's almost like, dude, are you trying to incarcerate more minorities? Are you when you look at these different laws that are like the Saturday Night Special,
right?
Like everybody wants to talk about that, right? And there's laws against having these more affordable firearms. And those are in a lot of different local areas and stuff like that. And now all of a sudden you're in, let's just say an area that you might be impoverished even, and you're trying to say you're going to outlaw these more affordable firearms because they're being used in crime so much. Right. But what you're not saying is actually the single mother that's working 3 jobs that can't afford to even her house payment, but might be able to afford a $200 gun.
Yeah. Backdoor gun control, man.
Yep, exactly. And now all of a sudden we're going to say, what? You're not going to have the right to life. You're not going to have the right to defend yourself.
Yep.
Sorry, that sucks for you. So you look at where gun control is, and I straight up agree with Maj Touré too. I love that guy. That gun control is racist. Absolutely. I mean, the first gun laws were to actually prevent, blacks from owning guns.
100%.
Freed slaves.
100%.
Freed slaves from owning firearms. And it's like, are you kidding me, dude?
Mm-hmm. Showed who the true racists are.
Yeah, exactly. And over a period of time, now you got like our buddy Tony Simon. He claims to be the pound for pound heaviest gun bunny
Tony's awesome, man.
Dude, I love Tony, man. He's a friend, and you know, we DM all the time. He's always tagging me in reels and stuff. Awesome dude, you know. And I see him every SHOT Show. Give him a big old hug because that's what you have to do with him. And dude, he puts out stuff all the time, and he's out there in the community, get trained up, you know, out there teaching people and just educating. Like I said, Maj Touré doing that too. Coleon Noir, you know, you got guys that are that.
Kevin Dixie.
Yeah, dude, you got phenomenal individuals that represent, you know, whatever their demographic might be. And on top of that, you know, the 2A is equally applied, man. It's just every other right in in the Constitution is equally applied. It belongs to everybody that is an American citizen, and people get in this mind. There's another guy, buddy of mine, Hoodneck.
Yeah,
Yeah.
dude, he's awesome, dude.
Love that guy, man. And he's bridging that gap because everybody gets the idea. Oh, if you're a gun owner, you must be a redneck.
Yeah, a white guy with a beard.
Yeah, white guy with a beard. Guilty, right? Not exactly a redneck. Or you're from the hood, right? You're a gangster, right? And he's bridging that gap. He's like, no, dude, Hoodneck.
And I think that's one of the best things, and I know that it has the government worried. It's one of the best things to happen for us, the gun owner, and one of the worst things to happen for the government. It's killing the narrative. So in the leading up to the Biden election, we had about 10 months where liberals were cool, the Democrats were cool with burning down cities because it was mostly peaceful, you know, mostly peaceful. People dying behind them, you know, burn the country down, like fight back. If you see them, Mr. and Mrs. Mayor, you see them out in public at a restaurant, then you confront them, you make a scene. Well, what did that do? That gave people firsthand experience that I need to be my own first responder. Because when people are rioting on my block, I don't have time to make a phone call for some dispatcher to get on a radio to call a guy to get into his car and hopefully get through that crowd and get to me before that guy pulls the trigger.
Oh, we always see.
So a huge amount of gun owners have been added to the rosters. A vast majority of them are female, and of that biggest group, they're black females. And I think it's absolutely phenomenal because it has the controllers scared because they did not want that to happen. They don't want, you know, the typical people that they will pass laws to prey upon, let's be honest.
Yeah.
They want to keep people impoverished and depend upon the government. But now these people realize, like, hey, I am my own safety net. I depend on me now.
That's right.
And they're very worried about that going forward.
And that goes back to what I was saying before. When it comes to firearm ownership, that is a sign of independence, not dependence. Independence, and especially when you start teaming up too with different demographics. It doesn't matter your race, color, creed. I don't give a shit what you believe. But as long as you don't try to force whatever type of opinion on me, I don't care.
Yeah.
Right? Even if I agree with you, sometimes I'm like, dude, I just don't want to talk about it right now. Like, can I just relax? You know. But it doesn't matter. But you show unity, right? And you get away from this idea of division and everything else. All of a sudden, man, it's like I said, you're dapping it up, whatever. Again, race, color, creed doesn't matter, man. But if you come out here and say, hey, you know what, I respect you and your thoughts because you know what, we live in this country where you can do that. You know, I mean, dude, we see it all throughout the world. You know, I mean, women are getting stoned for driving cars or taking their mask off or something like that. You know what I mean? And you come to this country and, you know, we got women showing up like, hey, Lena Mixulek. Oh, yeah. Hey, you know what? I'm Sig P365 Rose. I want more women involved.
Yep.
Hell yeah.
That's
Do
awesome.
it. Chris Cheng, he was a competitive shooter, gay, right? Yep. He says, I want the gay community, I want it involved. And you're talking about another demographic that's preyed upon.
Absolutely.
You know, absolutely. Clint Smith, he said in his class, he had 2 transitioning, 1 male, 1 female, you know, individuals in his class. And he said, I'm going to tell you right now. So I am not, in my mind, you're a he, you're a she. I'll call you what you want me to call you, whatever, but do not expect any sympathy from me. I'm going to call you. And if you've ever taken one of Clint Smith's classes at Thunder Ranch, he believe me, I'm not going to repeat some of the words. Yeah. But he calls me out all the time too. I was like, what are you doing, jarhead? You fucking suck, jarhead. You know, and he said, and those individuals, contact them, send them, they stay in touch, and they said they've never felt more comfortable because he treated them as if they were people.
Just like everybody else. Yep.
Treated them as if they were people, and he said, you know what? He's calling that dude a bitch over there and saying you fucking suck, and you know what? He's saying it to me too, and he's also saying it to that guy over there, and it's like, and one of Clint Smith's philosophies is if you can't handle me throwing words at you, how are you going to handle somebody throwing bullets at you?
Absolutely.
You know, so it's like you get out of your mind, take your ego out of it, acknowledge that you suck. I'm here to make you better. I'm here to make sure you stay alive, right? And I'm like, dude, I appreciate that. So you get all these different demographics, you different mindsets. Even, I mean, you can have, like I said, race, color, creed, religion, doesn't matter. But if you believe that everybody has a right, they're an individual, and they have a right to defend themselves and how they think and everything else, awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. Man.
Dude, changing the narrative, like, that's spot on, because a lot of times, you know, you were talking about the white guy with beard, right? The redneck, whatever. It's so easy to label that guy as racist, right? Oh, you got the gun, he's this racist guy, and this against. But if you get all other demographics and, you know, different colors, genders, and whatever, you basically kill the homophobic thing, the transphobic thing, the racist thing. You just kill it, and you bring all that together. And they're going to have nothing else to basically attack you on. And another thing I want to touch base on is, like, we're talking about women, even others. As a former LE, we bring that up again. Literally, like, nobody takes care of you better than you.
Absolutely.
Nobody. Like, people think, like, I used to call, when we were troopers, we used to call some people dusters. Like, and that was like, you would be in the blizzard or whatever, and a car is in the ditch, and you go there, there's somebody in it. You know, you didn't get dispatched to it. Like, you just see it. And there's, I don't know, a lady or a guy, doesn't matter, in the car. Hey, how you doing, trooper guy? What's going on here? Like, did you call your own tow? What? No?
No, just waiting for you to roll by.
Okay. Did you call anybody? No. So what are you waiting here for, ma'am? Oh, I just thought somebody would stop by.
Exactly, yeah.
Jesus.
Guys, like, get out of this mentality. Nobody takes care of you better than you. And that applies to when seconds count.
Absolutely.
Police are minutes away.
Yeah.
Trust me, you call that police as you were talking. The call taker takes the call, starts typing, and that sends that to dispatcher. Or sometimes that person does both at the same time. Then to a police officer. 44, go ahead. Yep. All right. Do they have any guns? Seconds are going, and somebody's kicking your door in. You got to have the means to protect yourself, because nobody takes care of you better than you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, man. And that thing too, like, you're just stuck in your car on the side of the road. If you open up the back of my 4Runner, I've got tow straps. I've got my Gold Zero Yeti 150 battery charger. I've got my jet oil back there, so that way I can make some food with. You've seen the big old Pelican case I keep back there. You know, I've got body armor. I got gas mask. And people are like, "What do you do? You're absolutely paranoid." And I'm like, "Nah, man." So here's the other thing. You know, Ryan actually brought this up. He said these people that'll get stuck in the snow and leave their car running and the snow builds up around them, and said they don't die from exposure. They die from carbon monoxide poisoning from the exhaust. I'm like, bet you wish you had a gas mask. You know, so I'm like, how about that? Right?
I'll admit I don't have a gas mask in my car.
Hey, Mira Safety, you listening? Kai, give Kai and Jared the hookup over here. All right?
Who's that?
Yeah, Mira Safety, man.
All right, I'll take one.
They're awesome, dude. But anyway, so yeah, you know, like you said, nobody takes care of any of you better than you.
Yeah.
You know, and that's a good philosophy to live by, and you apply that in every situation. Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, apply that in every way possible. And then if you can do that, if you can take care of yourself, now all of a sudden, oh man, you're not a liability, you're an asset, and now you can actually take care of somebody else if you are capable, right?
Yep.
You see somebody like, Dickens, he took care of a lot of people. By taking care of one guy, he took care of a lot of people.
Absolutely.
Yep.
You know, absolutely.
Nobody
Stephen
talks
Williford
about it anymore, right?
Stephen Williford, he knows how many lives he actually saved that day.
Yeah, all of them.
Yeah.
All of them that were still around him.
Yep.
Yes.
You know, when we interviewed him, he said, I think 20-something people were killed.
Yep.
An additional another 20-something people were wounded. Only 3 people walked out of that church that weren't shot.
Right.
And because of him, those 3 people, you know, were able to walk away. Because of him, those 22 people that were injured were able to live.
Right.
You know, and so you think about it, and again, he did it with an AR-15 and 8 rounds. And I'm not here to say too that, you know, limited capacity is a thing. It shouldn't be, because I don't think there's anybody. I'll be honest with you right now. My username is Magdump Morgan. I would have seen that guy and I probably would have been like, and then I would have realized really quick, shit, he's got
I'm
body
gonna
armor
say
on.
something about that. You just said AR-15, 8 rounds, right? Mm-hmm. People think how destructive that round is, right? We're talking about right there. It took him 8 rounds to take him out.
So it's 6 rounds. So he had 8 rounds total in his gun.
But he hit him 6 times.
He hit him 6 times. Yeah.
Needed 6.
So he ate 6, and then he went down.
Actually, so he ate 6 rounds, and he hopped in his car, and it was actually a 7th round that killed him, and that was suicide.
Right.
Okay, so think about it.
Didn't
6
stop.
rounds didn't stop. And we all know the accuracy issues during gunfight, right? I mean, you miss left and right. So you got limited capacity 10 rounds. I'm sorry, you're going to miss like about 70% of the rounds if you're trained.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Let's go to the stats. I mean, the FBI releases the stats every year, and New York police do that. The average police firefight, 3 yards or less, 3 rounds or less, in 30 seconds or less, 3 seconds or less, sorry. And police who are trained, right? They qualify every
Trained.
year. They miss 80% of the time.
Yeah.
Boom.
Dude, you see it on the body
Yeah.
cam footage. First of all, here's what I love about Steven. This man was controlled, he was methodical, and he observed. The moment he said he saw that this guy was wearing a ballistic helmet and body armor, he's like, I know I need to aim for places that aren't covered. Right. He aimed for the ribs, he aimed for the legs, pelvis. You know, he did everything he possibly could. When the guy got in the car, he said he aimed for where he thought where the head would be, right? Methodical, okay? Whenever you see the body cam footage, you know, these guys are put into, you know, confrontations all the time, I would assume, right? It depends. But the moment shit goes sideways, gun is out and that trigger is pulled until the magazine runs dry, right? And typically what you'll see a lot of the time too, they keep coming because shot placement's a thing.
Yeah.
That's a big deal.
Caliber's a thing.
Caliber's a thing, right? And but you see these guns run dry, and then all of a sudden, you know, you get that high stress situation. Motor skills go out the window. Now you're reaching for your mag. Oh crap! Did I even load it this morning? Holy shit! When was the last time I even checked this stuff? Oh my god! Okay, now I got my mag. Now I got to insert it to the mag well. I can't even see the mag well right now. I'm focused on the guy coming at me or shooting at me. Right now, okay, wait. Oh damn it! Is my magazine even oriented the right way? Shit. Okay, cool. Where's the slide release? Oh damn it! You know what? My thumb is riding the slide release. I got to rack the slide now. Oh my god.
Oh, there goes around.
Yeah, right. There goes around. Oh shit! I still had one more left. God, you know.
Let me pick it up.
Yeah, right. Let me pick it up.
You know, a lot of people don't realize in high stress situations, that's why we train the way we do. Your hands turn into oven mitts. You know, it's tough, and if you don't put yourself in those scenarios by taking classes or having Clint Smith or others yell at you and humiliate you to realize they're doing it for a reason.
Yes.
Because if God forbid you're ever in that scenario, now you've been there.
Yep.
And you can take a breath. You can calm yourself down. You know that everything's going to slow down. You know you're going to get tunnel vision. You know you have to break it. You know, and you can actually go to work.
Right.
Yep.
You know, I mean, it's all very, it's stuff that I think everybody should take it upon themselves to do. You know, and if you've gone to the military and things like that, you've been exposed to it a little bit. But I'm not just going to say that just because you've been in the military, that means you're an expert at anything. I'm going to go and say that right now. Most of you are 9 to 5. Me, I'm a weekend warrior, pogue. Right. I have never seen combat or anything like that, but I've seen guys that have, and I've seen the effects that it's taken on them. And some of them aren't here today. Right. You know, because they won the battle afar. They lost it when they got home. Right. And that's devastating. But I can tell you right now that a lot of us are exposed to these different types of stress, right? So all of a sudden, you know, we even did it at Fort Scott Munitions. Right. You know, there we've got all sorts of stuff happening. But we did the night course there, and we were using airsoft guns, which was a lot of fun. It was force on force, and they had mortars. Simulated mortars. They had the instructors yelling at us. They had people moving in on us. They had us people ambushing and things like that, you know. And all of a sudden, chaos, right? It's just chaos. And how do you keep the cool? How do you keep that mindset? And dude, it's by putting yourself in those situations time and time and time again. And all of a sudden, chaos becomes comforting. Right. It's a weird thing to say, but it comes easy to those that train for it, right? And so all of a sudden, you know, all these explosions that are coming off and everything, kind of like, that's kind of cool, man. Like, that's pretty sweet. Damn, it almost blew out the window of my Jeep. All right, cool. Hey guys, here's what we're doing. Here's the target. We got to ambush left, ambush right. We got to make sure we're communicating effectively, and we got to make sure hey, check your gear. You got ammo? All right, tight, cool. Comms up. Let's go. All of a sudden, communication doesn't need to happen. You're communicating non-verbally, because once the gunfire happens, your comms go out the window anyway.
You're not hearing.
Yeah, you're not hearing anyway. And all of a sudden, you see these guys. You see some people that are just cool, man. All the shit's happening around them, and those are the guys that you want on your side, and you should be worried about if they're not, right? It's the guys that, you know, are usually the loud talkers, things like that. Like, oh yeah, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, you know, and it's like, well, you know, what have you experienced? Like I said, I'm willing to admit that I haven't experienced much other than some pretty badass training. You know, have I ever put it into practice? Hopefully I never have to, right? But at the same time, I do believe I'm definitely willing to, and I hope I can rise to the occasion. And what's the quote there? You know, you never rise to the equation, but you'll fall to your
training,
to your highest level of training, whatever it is. And so it's like, dude, go out there, get that training, and hopefully with that training comes a better mindset too.
Yeah,
you know. So yeah, but man, I think we can go ahead and start wrapping it up here. I think we did a lot of talking, which is great because it's a podcast, and hopefully you guys are enjoying it. If we weren't talking, it'd be pretty damn boring. Just listen to three dudes breathing. You can probably do that somewhere else.
ASMR or something?
Yeah, ASMR, right.
You know, make money off that thing.
Yeah, but Jared, dude, always an absolute pleasure to see you and everything. But go ahead and let all the viewers, listeners know where they can find you, man.
Biggest way is the easiest way is just Guns and Gadgets on YouTube, and then I'm on all the big socials. Unfortunately, because we have to be where the eyeballs are.
Yeah.
So if you're interested in the Second Amendment and how you can be a better part or a bigger part of fixing what the government's trying to do, then check out Guns and Gadgets, man.
That's right, your premier source for Second Amendment news.
Awesome stuff. I'm one of your newer fans, sir, and
Thank you, bro.
You are killing it.
Thank you. One other thing, guys and gals, I put out multiple videos a day. So if you want to stay in the know, check back multiple times a day because it's always happening.
Yeah, you're not bullshitting when you say you are the premier source for Second Amendment. I mean, dude, you put out like, dude, I'll see something drop, and the moment it comes out, I'll be like, I'm gonna give it 30 minutes. I'm gonna give it 30 minutes. The moment the pistol brace ruling dropped, I'm like, I'm just gonna wait. I was like, and you admit too, it's like, hey, I haven't had time to read it, but here's the highlights. Here's what it is. You know, by the way, I don't know if you knew this or not, but you know, Mr. Guns and Gear, Military Arms Channel, a couple other guys were actually mentioned in the footnotes of the ruling. Us included.
Yes.
Classic Firearms is on there, our YouTube channel, and they're saying, you know, like, hey, you know, on this date in this video shows incorrectly shouldering a brace, something like that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, that's cool. You know what? That's street cred right there.
Yeah.
So, you know, it is what it is. So help us out, guys. Make sure you're liking, subscribing, sharing. And, you know, if you're not subscribed to Jared, make sure you're doing that. Kaya as well. And Kaya, what's yours again?
Classic Firearms official.
So, fair enough. So Classic Firearms official. Make sure you guys are typing it right on Instagram because there are a lot of posers, a lot of fakes and everything, and it's absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll leave it off there. Jared, man, thanks, dude.
Dude, it's my pleasure.
Thanks, dude.
Always awesome hanging with you guys.
Yeah.
So guys, God bless. Make sure you stand up and fight for our rights, and you do that by supporting people, organizations like Gun Owners of America and Jared. See you guys next time.